Hey, what is good with y'all? It's your boy KAG, and today we're going to be talking about the Nintendo NX and whether or not it's going to be a hybrid device or whether or not it's going to be multiple form factors. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and let's hop into this video. Now, as a lot of y'all know out there in the gaming world and all the Nintendo fans, there's a battle going on with people saying Nintendo NX is going to be a hybrid, which is what pretty much Eurogamer is stating, and then we have those who are out there saying no, Nintendo NX is going to be a console and a handheld, two completely separate devices, and they're going to release at different points in time throughout next year, right? So that's what we're down to right now, and then we have AMD versus Nvidia. Which one is going to win the actual battle of whether or not it's going to be a hybrid, with the hybrid people saying that it's going to be Nvidia, and then you have the console people who are stating that it's going to be a Polaris GPU, coming out of AMD. Now, with that being said, let's go ahead and let's read some statements by Mr. Iwata himself. And this actually comes way of 2014, so this is a couple years back, right? This is before the NX was even announced. So they were in a meeting and they was pretty much stating that Nintendo is going to be joining the console and their handheld divisions together and making one division, one entity. That way they can make games together and everything will be kosher, right? So Iwata goes on to say, when this happens, home consoles and handheld devices will no longer be completely different, and they will become like brothers in a family of systems. Now, right here, somebody could go ahead and say, well, maybe he's talking about Nintendo is going to start making multiple devices that are, so it could be multiple form factors, but have the same games, right? But if we go on and continue, he says, still, I am not sure if the form factor, the size, and configuration of the hardware will be integrated. In contrast, the number of form factors might increase. Currently, we can only provide 2 form factors because if we had 3 or 4 different architectures, we would face serious shortages of software on every platform. To cite a specific case, Apple was able to release smart devices with various form factors, one after another, because there's one way of programming adopted by all platforms. Apple has a common platform called iOS. Another example is Android. Though there are many various models, Android does not face software shortages because there's one common way of programming on the Android platform that works with various models. The point is, Nintendo platforms should be like these 2 examples. Whether we will ultimately need just one device will be determined by what consumers demand in the future, and that is not something we know at the moment. So, right there we have, the actual statement where a lot of people are saying it's going to be multiple devices because it could potentially be multiple form factors. But notice what he says right here. He says he's not sure if the form factor, he's not sure if it's going to be integrated or not. This is back in early 2014, right? This is before the NX was announced, right? So this was still some time prior. Now, he also goes on to say that, it could take multi-form factors. But if you actually go ahead and you took a look at the DS line, you have the 3DS, you have the 3DS XL, you have the 2DS, you have the new 3DS, and you have the new 3DS XL. These are all multiple form factors. They all can play the exact same games on these devices, but they all have different form factors. So you have like your regular 3DS, which has, a smaller screen. It's the regular size, standard. And then you have a 3DS XL, which is one for people who want a bigger screen. And then you have your 2DS, which is more of a cheaper device. It is more of a budget device for those who want a cheaper device that they can actually still play their games on. But at the end of the day, they all can still play the exact same games. So, those are multiple form factors. That does not necessarily mean that there would have to be a console and a handheld device that play the same games. Granted, yes, it could do that way, but it doesn't mean that it has to be that way. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's fast forward a little bit to another article right here, and this one also comes way of Iwata. So he says, though I cannot confirm when it will be launched or any other details of the system, since I have confirmed that it will be a dedicated video game platform with a brand new concept. It should mean that we do not intend it to be a simple replacement for Nintendo 3DS or Wii U. Now notice he says it's not a simple replacement for the Nintendo 3DS or Wii U. He does not say a simple replacement for the Wii U. He does not say a simple replacement for the 3DS. He says not a simple replacement for the 3DS or the Wii U, which means that it encompasses both devices. It has something to do with both of them, not just one of them, not just the other. It has something to do with both of them. And also notice right here where he says brand new concept. And this is actually an article coming from 2015. So it's a year later, things are beginning to narrow down as to what the Nintendo NX is going to be. So this is actually a first initial statement regarding the Nintendo NX. But if you actually take a look right here, he says your question also includes the current notion of thinking about home consoles and handheld devices. When it comes to how dedicated game systems are being played, the situations have become rather different, especially between Japan and overseas. Since we are always thinking about how to create a new platform that will be accepted by as many people around the world as possible, we would like to offer to them a dedicated video game platform as a brand new concept by taking into consideration various factors, including playing environments that differ by country. That is all I can confirm today. Now, if you actually take a look at what he's saying right there, as we all know, Japan, which is home of Nintendo, they actually go ahead and they are more of a mobile user base. They use mobile devices. They were the people that buy 3DS. Now, on the West, you know, or should we say overseas, a lot of people use consoles there because they like to play their games on the television. So, whatever Nintendo NX was to be, it would have to do something that would encompass both environments. Notice how they actually say, including the playing environments that differ by country, because each country has a different playing environment. Like I said, Japan, they're more mobile users. And on top of that, they typically do not like huge hardware inside of their house. They like to be kind of minimalist. Now, on the other side, over here in the US, they will have a console because they like to play on their television instead and not as much mobile. Granted, there is still a large mobile base here in the US and in the West, but in general, they like to play on their television, right? So if you had a hybrid device that was a console, then it technically still wouldn't work as far as Japan goes, because Japan is more of mobile users. They play their games on the go. Now, if you had a mobile game unit, then, that would work in Japan, but it necessarily wouldn't work in the US because it's a mobile game unit. But if it's a hybrid of both of them, meaning that it would be able to cater to both environments, then that would technically be the actual golden key to the whole thing. Because the hybrid device, if it's a portable, then that means that you could play your games on the go. But if it's also a portable that hooks up to your television, then that makes it a console as well. So you're able to play the games on your television as well as you're able to play games on the go, right? So that would include both environments, rather than, having a console that has a mobile unit to it, which was like the Wii U, but you really couldn't even play on the go because the mobile unit had to be within, about 30 feet of the actual console. Now let's continue on to what was also being said at the time. So if we go back and we look at the Wall Street Journal, we're going to go back to an article, and this one is actually in October 16th of 2015. So this is actually stating that Nintendo begins distributing, software kits for new Nintendo NX platform, right? So if we scroll on down here, they say the exact shape of the NX hardware isn't yet clear. People familiar with the development plans and Nintendo would likely include both a console and at least one mobile unit that could either be used in conjunction with the console or taken on the road for separate use. Now notice what they said here. This is already getting towards the key of where it is a hybrid device, because they say it likely includes both a console and at least one mobile unit that could either be used in conjunction with the console or taken on the road for separate use. But notice they say the exact shape of the NX hardware isn't yet clear, right? But we do know from this statement that there is a way to play games on the go with whatever Nintendo was working on. Now this is back in October. Now if we fast forward a little bit to January from Wall Street Journal, we have this statement right here. Nintendo seemed likely to launch handheld device this year. Now it's becoming more of a hybrid device because they say it's a handheld device this year. Now if we actually scroll on down here to where they actually talk and they say Mr. Haase declined to specify what size of display Nintendo is likely to use for its new device, but yet he expects the product to be a standalone portable gaming machine such as the 3DS, rather than a display-equipped controller for a console such as Wii U, right? So he's saying whatever this device is, it is not, a controller with a screen on it like the Wii U. It is a standalone portable gaming machine, right? So here we go again with the hybrid talk, right? Exactly. So let's go ahead and let's fast forward a little bit. Then we have Wall Street just a few days ago. Now they're actually coming out with a statement. A person familiar with the matter said NX would be a handheld console hybrid that would be compatible with its own smartphone games. So, in the beginning, they said it's a console, but it has a mobile unit that you could take on the go with you. And then they went ahead and they said, okay, now it is a handheld device that you can actually play on the go, but it's not necessarily a console yet. And then we go ahead and everything becomes a little bit more clear, and now it's a console hybrid that will be compatible with its own smartphone games, right? So now let's go ahead and take a look at what DigiTimes said. Now DigiTimes went ahead and they put this statement out June 2nd, 2016. So this was before the whole Eurogamer rumor came around. And they go on to say, the sources pointed out that Nintendo NX combines the video game experience with the mobile gaming experience. The device features a 5 to 7 inch display, controller, and joystick for users to play as a mobile gaming product, but it is also able to connect to a TV for users to play as a video game system. Now notice what they say here. They say the device features a 5 to 7 inch display, controller, and joystick, right? So first of all, they say it's a device. They do not say the controller has a 5 to 7 inch display. They say the device has a 5 to 7 inch display. Now, what console do you know of outside of a portable console has a screen on it? There's none. Because it's, they don't have screens on them if they're actual consoles because they hook up to a television. But notice what they say here. The device features a 5 to 7 inch display, controller, and joystick. Now notice also they say controller and joystick. If you look at the Eurogamer rumor, they state about it having like 2 controllers on either end of this screen, this 5 to 7 inch display. So a controller and joystick for users to play as a mobile gaming product. But it also is able to connect to a TV for users to play as a video game system. Now also what has been stated in the Eurogamer rumor supposedly is that it can connect to the TV as well and be used as a console, right? So that was another little hint right there. Now we also go ahead and we're going to look at this port put out by Trusted Reviews. And they go on to say the Nintendo NX has again been tipped to be a console handheld hybrid ahead of its full unveiling later this year. Although the hybrid console and the handheld design has yet to be officially confirmed by Nintendo, several rumors and industry people are backing such a hardware choice. Reports suggested that Nintendo's upcoming console will include both portable and home play options that highlight the company's dedication to both markets currently served by the Nintendo Wii U and the 3DS. Now notice what they say here, right? First of all, they say it's a console handheld hybrid, but then they also go on to say down here below that will include both portable and home play options, right? They do not say a home console up here. They say a portable and home play options. So it's a portable device that also has home play options. Now this was actually put out in January of this year of 2016. So that was another one right there. Now let's go ahead and let's continue a little bit further. So then we go on and we have this statement by Kotaku with Mr. Iwata. And he says, in an interview with Nikkei, Iwata briefly mentioned the hardware, saying he would not go into particulars about the NX. However, if you only expand upon existing hardware, it's dull, Iwata said. In some shape or form, we're always thinking about how we want to surprise players, as well as our desire to change each person's video gaming life. Now, existing hardware. Existing hardware would be a traditional console. Existing hardware would be a handheld device, right? A regular portable device. But a hybrid is not a hardware that currently exists in Nintendo's, platforms. So they do not have a hybrid device right now. They only have, console and handheld. Two separate devices. But they say if you only expand upon existing hardware, it's dull, or it becomes dull, right? And then he goes on to say, in some shape or form, we're always thinking about how we want to surprise players, as well as our desire to change each person's video gaming life. Now currently, you have console gamers, you have handheld gamers, and you have people that play both. Now, if you actually go ahead and you take a look at the console gamers, if this was a hybrid device, that would mean that those console gamers could play their games on their television, but in order to change their gaming life, they would now be able to play those same console games on the go. And if you go ahead and you take a look at the actual portable game users, let's say like in Japan, you would have those people who only play, little handheld experiences, right? They play portables. But if you actually go ahead and you allow them a way to connect it to their TV, then that would change their gaming life as well, because they would be playing consoles as well as handhelds, and they would be playing handhelds as well as consoles. So it would actually change both of their gaming lives, right? But let's continue on a little bit further, and we're going to go ahead and take a look at a statement put out by Mr. Kimishima. And so now he goes on to say, NX is in development, referring that Nintendo will have more to say about it next year, and calling it a next step in our dedicated device strategy, the core and primary focus of our business. Now notice he said device strategy. He does not say console, he does not say handheld, he says device, right? And then he goes on to say, NX is definitely a departure from Wii and Wii U. As far as NX goes, I've said it's different and obviously a new experience. So that just has to go ahead and say that they're going to be offering you a completely new experience with the NX, right? But let's go ahead and we're going to look at another article. This one comes way of Nintendo Enthusiast, and let's give a big shout out to them. And they go on to say that given the NX will be released next March, won't that cause people to stop buying consoles this year, right? And so Mr. Kimishima goes on to say, our business is a lively one. Of course, if you compare the Wii U to the Wii, you understand that situation. When the NX is released, the Wii U business will slow, but the 3DS has Pokemon coming this autumn, and that is such a big hit that I can't imagine the NX will have a negative impact on the 3DS. Now notice what he did here. Now he actually brings up both departments. He brings up the Wii U and he brings up the 3DS. He brings up both of those platforms in this statement on regards to whether or not, the hardware sales for consoles will be affected. So in, this actual statement, with him saying that he doesn't expect the 3DS to be affected because it has Pokemon coming out, that would mean that it has some type of effect on mobile devices, because if it didn't, then the 3DS wouldn't be affected by it at all. But then again, you have this side over here with the Wii U, and with the NX being released, the Wii U business will slow. So you have both of those combinations of them actually talking about the Wii U and the 3DS. Now if we go ahead and we go down a little bit further, he says, it seems more to me that the NX will have an effect on the Wii U due to the fact that both will be consoles. And they go on to say, I suppose it can be seen that way. However, the NX is neither the successor to the Wii U nor to the 3DS. Now this is also a statement that was said by Iwata. The Wii U is not a, the NX is not a successor to the Wii U nor the 3DS, and in each time they bring up both devices, so it must affect both devices, the Wii U and the 3DS. So if it was just a console that was coming out, the NX was just a console, then it wouldn't affect both of these devices. It would only affect the Wii U. But if it's a, a portable, then it would just affect the 3DS. But if it's, a hybrid, it would affect the Wii U and the 3DS. So it would affect both of them, right? But, let's go ahead and go a little bit further. So if we actually go ahead and take a look at this statement here, put out by Mr. Iwata himself, he says, the NX is neither the successor to the Wii U or 3DS, as well as Mr. Kimishima said, it is neither the successor to the Wii U or the 3DS. So just to recap, we have, Wall Street Journal over here stating that, hey, it's a console, but it has a mobile unit to it, right? This was in the early years, and then it gets a little bit closer, and then now they're saying that it's a handheld device, right? Because they're supposedly, creating these screens for this mobile device, right? And then we go further, and then Wall Street Journal goes ahead and they just pretty much say that it's a hybrid that would be compatible with its own smartphone games. And then DigiTimes saying that it's a device with a 5 to 7 inch display, controller, and joystick, which perfectly accurately says what Eurogamer is stating, and that is 2 months ahead before they actually say it. And then they go ahead right here with trusted reviews, and they say that it is a handheld hybrid, console handheld hybrid right there. But if you actually go ahead and you account for all of these, these statements, all of this information, all this stuff that's backing this hybrid device, what is technically backing it being just a traditional console? Well, it really isn't anything really saying that it's going to be a traditional console and a traditional handheld that will be released later down the road. It's more an indication that it will be a hybrid. Now, another thing with all these, these publications that are online coming out and stating that they all are hearing familiar things. People like to say that, oh, they just hearing this one rumor from one person and all of this is being trickled out by this one person. Now, that sounds really stupid, just actually hearing that statement come out your mouth. You're like, hey, the one person is leaking this to everybody. Come on, let's be real here, y'all. You got Wall Street Journal. You're saying Wall Street Journal has the same sources as DigiTimes? I mean, come on, let's be real here. Kotaku, Nikkei. I mean, you have pretty big publications, IGN. I mean, there's a lot of people who are stating this. But anyways, let me know what y'all think about all this. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like button. And as always, don't forget to subscribe because we talk about all things Nintendo here. And I'm out of here. Peace.